listening to 1380 AM, 95.1 FM, KCIM, and this is KCIM Sports Rewind. We talk about high school sports or whatever else we want to talk about, I'm assuming, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
We've talked to non-high school sports many a times.
Well, yeah, when the high school scene is a little bit slow, we might jump in with some of the college and some of the pro stuff going on here. I think I've already got our headline of the morning.
Okay.
Casey Miners 10 minutes early for the show today. Man.
I'm still tired.
Yeah.
You are putting in the hard work of getting out of bed this morning, dude.
I did. I woke up, what time is it now? Yeah, I woke up like 20 minutes ago, so...
Yeah. And you can tell just in his voice that he's not fully awake yet.
I was gonna say, we have a near fully functioning Casey Miners for the show today.
I can't tell the color of his eyes because they're still squinted enough that
it wasn't a late night, but it was still a late night.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It always is for you guys. You guys are out there writing stuff at 2 o'clock in the morning. And so everybody, when you see, like, take a look at your next post you read, what time it was posted at. These guys are up there at that time. So
last night wasn't too bad. I think we were done by midnight-ish or so.
Yeah, it was a little, I think, a little after midnight.
12:30 maybe or something like that. Yeah.
So a real cush night then.
Yeah,
huh?
Kind of a lazy, relaxing night. So.
All right, forget everything I said. These guys barely work. They show up to games and that's it. That's all they do. So, all right, shall we start with the trivia question of the morning?
Sure.
All right, Super Bowl coming up. It is in where?
Las Vegas.
Las Vegas. So Nevada is the 11th state to host a Super Bowl.
Okay.
We're going to get you to name the other 10. So I told you it was an 11-part answer. I'll give you one. Nevada.
Okay.
So be thinking about that. Okay. 10 other states have hosted Super Bowls in the past.
Okay.
So there you go.
Glad
There's
you didn't ask
question.
Cities. I think the states might be easier.
Honestly, I think the cities might have been easier.
Pretty easy, too.
Yeah. But as long as you figure out, because a couple of states
NFL teams host them, so if you can figure out.
Right.
Yeah. Well, there's a few curveballs in there.
Yeah, and most of them are warm locations.
See, I was shocked that was 11th of the 11th state that it's going to be hosted in. And, of course, Las Vegas is going to get everything from now on. They've got the A's moving there.
Right.
They've got the Raiders now there. So they have this beautiful stadium out there. So, of course, they're going to want to put more stuff there.
I'll be there in March.
All right. A little late for the Super Bowl, but
I know, a little late for the Super Bowl, but I'm going to catch my first professional hockey game, and I'm excited. So
the Golden Knights is what they are. So, all right, so let's talk a little girls state wrestling. That's coming up this Thursday, Friday. 8 participants, hoping to get maybe 10, but a good amount.
Yeah, really pretty happy, and stuff with the amount of girls. There's always a few that, had terrific seasons. I know Carroll High sent 4, and, I think they felt, 6 or 7 had a legitimate chance to get down there, so I think they were kind of disappointed for a few of them. I know, Kemper had 1 more I think that they'd have liked to have gotten. I thought Audubon maybe could squeeze 1 through, but didn't. South Central Calhoun maybe had a couple of girls, and, ESAC probably 1 more girl. But, you look at Jamie Pierce's story, from ESAC County, qualified, didn't even go out to start the season. She said John Smith, who was the longtime head coach for the boys and now kind of an assistant for the boys, but kind of helps her run the girls program with Chaps Wilkie, who oversees both of them. But, he said that she told me yesterday that he'd been kind of talking to her the last couple of years about you should wrestle, and she didn't quite want to do it. Then she said she peeked in, at one of the boys' practices and thought, this could be fun. She talked to one of her girlfriends who was intrigued about going out. They decided to go out together, so she texted Coach and said they were coming out. Her friend ended up not deciding to go out, but she said, well, I'm already told Coach I'm coming, so she went out after the season started.
How long after the season?
Almost a month, probably.
Really?
Yeah.
So and it's taken a while because when you wrestle, you gotta get into shape. Figure out what weight you want to wrestle at. So
especially when you've never done it before.
Right.
I think she's only wrestled 17
matches on the year, and it's been on a tear as of late. Over the last 2 or 3 weeks has jumped up there probably as one of our 4 or 5 best wrestlers here over the last 2 weeks of the season, and then ends up getting herself qualified for the state tournament. So you
got to marvel at just the natural ability and the instincts that she has to come in that late, and to still make it to the state wrestling tournament. That's a deal, man. That's a good deal.
She credits Coach Coach Smith a lot, and then I think it was Chandler Lair had a little injury time for the boys where he wasn't able to get out on the mats and wrestle, but could still have practice. So I think he came in and did a lot of fundamental work with her on where to get your hands and how to make the moves and stuff like that. So I think between those two, I think, Jamie kind of credits those two really with kind of getting her on the run that she was on late in the year.
I mean, I think it just speaks to her athleticism. I mean,
absolutely.
She's a good catcher in softball.
Yes.
And I think that helps a lot, with wrestling. You got to be flexible and athletic to, be behind the plate. And, you can see it now with her qualifying for state.
Yeah, you get beat up behind the plate. Mm-hmm. I don't care, softball, baseball, whatever. If you can take that abuse, you can be out for wrestling.
Yeah, absolutely. And she loves going in and getting the two-leg takedown and stuff. But yeah, I mean, what a story. What a fun story. Last year I interviewed a girl from each team that qualified for the state tournament. Did the same thing this year. Tried to change it up a little bit and interview different girls, and stuff than what I caught last year heading down there. So you'll get an interview with Jamie Pierce as part of our coverage on Thursday from Esac County. You'll get an interview with Evelyn Kramer, who was the only qualifier, both of those the only qualifiers for their schools, and then you'll get an interview as well with Julia Canny from the Kemper Knights, or the Carroll Tigers, and Sadie Smith with the Kemper Knights. I still sometimes think of Julia as a Kemper girl because she runs cross country for them. Mm-hmm. So you go from the fall season into the winter season, and it trips my brain a little bit. But so you're going to get those 4 interviews as part of our live coverage. And again, for anybody that hasn't heard, the live coverage will be on the CB Sports Network YouTube channel. Now, it's going to be similar to what we did last year. It'll be audio only. We can't go down and do the video part of it. So it'll be an audio only broadcast. We've got, the Hall of Famer and Bill Kane going down. And then, folks are going to have to suffer through Jeff Honnold a little bit.
Famer in his own mind.
Yes. Jeff Honnold. No, we appreciate both of those guys.
Absolutely, we do.
Very, very much. And they do a terrific job. We just got to give Honnold a little bit of a hard time, and stuff. But
we cannot let him off easy.
Yeah, no. He wouldn't like it if we did.
I know.
Yeah, so they'll have coverage the entire time. So as long as we've got a wrestler still coming up in that session, they will be what we'll call live. We do have some pre-recorded interviews that I've gotten, and stuff for Thursday's coverage and stuff that'll play. But they'll be there. They'll do live play-by-play. They'll try to update you on some of the other girls from our conference schools that are down there. That'll probably be late into the day. But, they'll give you wall-to-wall coverage for the entire session coming up both Thursday and Friday. So there's a morning session that runs from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Thursday, and then an evening session that will go from 6 to 9 that night. And again, as long as we have a wrestler going, they'll do it. I'm going down as well. As long as all of our broadcast stuff goes fine and I'm not having to spend too much time, in that area working on things, I'm going to be getting video interviews with all of the girls after each of their matches and stuff. I'll get those posted to our YouTube channel as well as to our CB Sports Network Facebook page, Twitter page, and then they'll also go on a web page that I've built that will have kind of similar, if you know what we do, a state track where you got the girl and then it'll be who they're wrestling. So you'll get the result. You'll get who they're going to be wrestling in the next round and what round that'll be. You'll get a picture of them and also the video interview of them along with the sponsor for that school and stuff. So you'll get all that available on the website, and I'll try to update that as quickly as possible. Now, it's going to take a few minutes to get all the interviews and then get them uploaded and get all that done, but I'll be doing all that. So
except you only have 8 to do this time instead of 100 in some state track.
So, and we're only taking a crew of 3 instead of a crew of 6.
Now, talk about last year. It was a real feel-out kind of workout for the athletic union. This year, any changes we expect? We hope to have a better position to broadcast from because I don't think they realized we were doing wall-to-wall coverage, and there was a lot of stuff in their way.
Last year, Jeff and Bill were literally down on the floor behind the mat. So they would have cheerleaders and workers and wrestlers literally walking in front of them, standing in front of them, cheering in front of them, and they were on one end. So sometimes there was a mat that was all the way down on the other end. So you're trying to look through all of that congestion, plus you're looking through 6 other mats to try and get to the mat. So like at State Boys, you're up above and stuff, so you can see all the mats really well. But, it was the first year they hosted a sanctioned girls tournament. I think the girls union was trying to figure out exactly what everybody was doing. We were kind of informed after. I know Jeff had a conversation with them down there partway through that first day that it's like, they thought everybody was just going to come down and do updates. So you just pull things up on the computer on track wrestling and kind of update, how your area kids are doing. I don't think they realized that there were radio stations, including us, that was doing actual play-by-play. So hopefully this year, with them knowing that we're doing play-by-play, they did have a few areas up above that you could call from. Hopefully they'll, assign us one of those spots so that our guys will be up above. So it was a learning experience for the girls union. I don't think they did a bad job with anything, but it's kind of a feeling out thing for them, just like it was a feeling out thing for us last year. We did, first time we'd ever done a full-fledged, YouTube broadcast that was only audio like that from an event like that. And we had a few glitches every now and then. And this year we're changing things up a little bit to try and not have those glitches, but that might mean we have a different glitch, but we'll get it fixed as quickly as we can. I'm hoping that we don't. Some of it will be, how good the internet's down there. If you have Wi-Fi issues, that kind of can mess with you a little bit.
You're going to have a lot of people down there, so Wi-Fi issues might play.
But it's Extreme Arena. It's run by a company that produces Wi-Fi. I would hope that it doesn't matter how jam-packed that place is going to be.
You're just doomed right now.
I know. So,
but this is a huge undertaking and got rave reviews. By the last year's state wrestling, I mean, a lot of folks came up to us afterwards and said, "Man, that was great coverage." They appreciated that we weren't jumping in and out of coverage on air. They had to stay listening for it. They could just tune it in and stay tuned into it. But it's fun. It's a phenomenal amount of work. So kudos to you two guys for putting all this stuff together. Casey's been working on all the behind-the-scenes stuff, so you'll be back here making sure everything's running. And, Jeff, you're going to be on site for all that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I kind of did the same thing I did with Tyler last year, as Casey kind of handled putting all of the audio ads that you'll see playing and stuff, and all the screens that you'll see during the broadcast on the YouTube channel. And then, I've been working on the basketball postseason stuff that's been coming in, and of course, building the results pages that you'll see out on the internet. So, there's a ton of behind-the-scenes thing. I will tell folks, not anything we can do about this, but tomorrow morning, right away, we've got 3 girls wrestling at the 110-pound category, and they're literally like one match and then the very next match, and then a couple of matches later, we've got the third girl. So Jeff and Bill will do everything they can. Some of it will depend on where they've got to sit seated, but it's loud in there. It's hard to hear. You're listening while you're trying to broadcast. You're trying to listen to see when the next girl gets called up. But there's going to be a really good chance that we'll have 3 girls on mats at the exact same time. So we'll give the best that we can of coverage to all 3 of the girls. But, you may not get the full 6 minutes of each of the girls is all I'm kind of warning folks.
Also want to throw out a big thank you to all the sponsors that have jumped on board with this coverage. I mean, it's been phenomenal.
Yeah,
all
absolutely.
the people out there supporting wrestling out there.
Yeah.
We do want to talk about boys wrestling, though. We got to get some of that in.
Yeah, absolutely. Carroll boys wrestling team going to be in action tonight. They've got a couple of big matches potentially. One big match for sure. They're in the regional duels. So this is what the state holds to be able to send a team or teams to the state dual tournament.
And that's on Wednesday of that week, right? That's right before the boys individual.
Yes. So Carroll High will wrestle against Winterset tonight down at Creston at 6 o'clock. They've met, of course, them already this year and beat them in a duel earlier this season, so they'll be favored to win that one. They win that one, they turn around after that match and wrestle tonight against Creston, who comes in ranked number 3. So winnable match and stuff, winnable duel, but going to be tough. But the winner of that Creston match against whoever wins between Winterset and Carroll will head on then to the state dual tournament. So an outstanding year so far for the Carroll Tigers. 3rd straight year that they've made regional duels. And I'll be honest with you, I don't remember them making it prior to this run, maybe more than once in my time here. So this is an incredible run that this Carroll boys wrestling program is on right now.
And I think Coach Noggle just got a back-to-back Raccoon River Conference Coach of the Year, if I'm correct. He was just announced that, so that's like a big award for him.
Yep. So congratulations to him. He has done a terrific job, and I always like to joke with him. He is such a fun guy to just chat with, to just talk to. So well deserved with the work at him, and I guarantee you he'll give a lot of credit to his coaching staff, but the work that they've done has been terrific.
Yeah, Eric needs to come out of his shell a little more.
Just a little more.
Show a little more personality there, Eric.
Yeah. The only thing I don't tease him about anymore is his, when he first started coaching, you'd watch him on the sideline, and he would flex in ways I didn't think he could, because wrestling coaches are up trying to show the guys the moves that they want him to do, and how to get out of the holds and stuff. And he'd be over there. He doesn't do quite as much of that as what he used to do. But
I would like to go to one wrestling practice. I don't want to participate in anything because I don't want to have to,
right.
get out of here and start running. But I would think it would be a lot of fun. Eric makes everything a lot of fun, I think.
He does. I will jokingly tell you this. I said something to him one time. I'm like, I really need to drop 20 pounds. I want to get to a certain weight. And he goes, give me 2 weeks in the wrestling room. You'll be at where you want to be. And I looked at him and I'm like, I don't want to come in and have you get me down that 20 pounds. I don't think I'd survive.
How about I just join the military, Eric? That training camp or boot camp might do the trick as well.
Absolutely. But the work that those guys put in. But I just real quick, I want to run through the girls that qualified here real quick, because I didn't do that earlier. But Grace Hoffman from Kemper, Evelyn Kramer from South Central Calhoun, Julia Caney from Carroll, Sadie Smith of Kemper, Avery Burke of Carroll, Jamie Pierce of ESAC, Emma Grossman of Carroll, and Emma Daniels of Carroll. So those are the 8 girls that qualified for the state tournament.
Yeah, 4 from Carroll. I mean, they've got to be thrilled with that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they felt 6 to 7s, but I think they're really happy with 4, but they'd like to have gotten a couple of more, as I said earlier. But yeah, 4 from Carroll, 2 from Kemper, and then 1 each from ESAC and South Central Calhoun. So
again, that all begins Thursday morning at what time?
Thursday morning, 10 o'clock is when the first session goes, and literally there's a 100-pound weight class, and then a 105, and then a 110, if I remember right. So it's going to be boom, boom, and those guys will be on. So
100-pound weight class.
Yeah. Boys years ago used to have, they were a 105. And I'm trying to remember it. I'm so screwed up now because they did different weight classes this year than they've had in the past. And I'll be honest with you, I'm still learning the new weight classes for this year, because I flash back to what it had been and stuff. But I can remember an under 100-pound class, like 98 pounds or something like that for boys at one time in wrestling. Yeah, so.
That's crazy. All right, so we got a lot of basketball to talk about, because February right around the corner, man. It doesn't mean just wrestling. We got a ton of basketball too. We'll talk about that next on KCIM Sports Rewind.
As the athletes at your house prepare for hard work and fun of the season, remember that St. Anthony Rehab Services provides physical therapy for any sports injury that may sideline your member of the team. Sports injuries can plague kids of all ages and keep them from playing the sport they love. Athletes will be under the direct supervision of a certified and licensed healthcare professional in the newly renovated sports performance facility. If an injury is keeping your athlete out of the game, call St. Anthony Rehabilitation Services at 794-5000 for sports injury and treatment rehab.
KCIM Sports Rewind. Once again, it's Sports Director Jeff Blankman, Assistant Sports Director Casey Miners. I'm John, hanging out here for this half hour. And don't forget our trivia question. Nevada is the 11th state to host a Super Bowl. What are the 10 other states that have done that? I was shocked that there were that many.
I am too. I absolutely shocked. I would have.
2 or 3 came to mind right away, and I'm like, wow.
The
where
ones
were the
down
other ones?
South and out west where it's warm.
Yeah. All those. But we'll find out before the half hour is out about that. But let's talk a little bit about basketball, because we're heading down the home stretch of the season for that as well. The girls' playoff pairings, when are those going to be announced?
Well, I'd love it for it to be later today, but it's going to be this week. From everything I read, here a week or so ago on the Girls Union, they said it'll be the week of the 29th, which is, of course, this week, but then they're like more than likely Wednesday. So I'm anticipating them Wednesday. Now, I've had it before where they've said more than likely a certain day of the week, and then they come out a day before that or something. So I'll be refreshing the girls' page a few times today, hopefully catching them coming out today, but probably more than likely tomorrow.
Yeah, we've seen it where it comes out on they hit upload, turn off the lights, and walk out the door.
Yeah, a lot of times it's posted at about 5 p.m.
Yep.
And stuff. So, and that's the thing I don't always understand. Wednesdays is fine. Like I can remember volleyball one time they posted it, on a Thursday night, but they didn't get it on until like 6 o'clock at night. And I'm like, do you realize that almost every volleyball team in the state plays on a Thursday night, and most media people that cover volleyball are out? So it was like, so coaches were like literally during JV games, like digging through the brackets trying to find out, where they were playing and stuff. So, Wednesday it's a better day because there's, until the postseason starts, there's no high school sports going on Wednesdays.
Let's talk about it. Who do you guys like what they're playing right now? Casey, let's start with you.
Coon's playing good. SEC, despite the boys, despite losing last night, they're still playing good basketball. I think that's only their 4th loss of the season. Kemper obviously is playing good. They just lost to Lewis Central, but
that's on the boys' side. I was thinking maybe the girls' side.
Yeah, girls' side, Coon obviously.
Yep.
I mean that steps out big time. Trying to think.
Carroll High playing badly.
Yep. Carroll just picked up a win at home. It kind of evens their record up, and they play the record of a conference for girls basketball is tough. And I think Coach Cook talked about that last night when she came up for her interview. Is that it's a tough conference. Anyone that can get is really going to help them with seeding wise.
Yeah, ADM's been a thorn in their side for a long time.
Mm-hmm. It was interesting because I looked at the record between the two teams, and it dates back to 2006. That's how back Varsity Bound went. 18-17 ADM. Now it's tied up at 18-18. So they have split.
Yeah.
They have split that much.
I bet if you look at those years, the early years were dominated by Carroll High, and then the later years dominated by ADM.
Yeah. Carroll's only won now 4 straight against them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They've come back on again here, but I think ADM probably had a stretch where they probably won.
Well, there was a
10 in a row, but Carroll would have had that same thing probably early on.
I think when I was in high school, ADM was kind of the top of the conference basketball wise. I know there was a year that they were ranked 2. Went undefeated pretty much the whole season. So
yeah, you look at that conference, and Carlisle winners had Ballard, Bondurant, Farrar. ADM, Carroll has had a run. Boone's had some runs in there. There's, there's so many different schools that have had runs where they're ranked, a lot, and stuff. So that conference is about as deep as you're going to find.
Even when Perry was in it, they had a few runs. They had a few years in there where they were pretty
Absolutely.
good. So anybody else playing good basketball out there for the girls? And as we head towards the playoffs, when do they start, actually? It's like the first week in
February 8th is when the very first round will be for classes 1A and 2A. We'll see, hopefully, when the brackets come out, how many of the area teams. I know, Caitlin McAllister, the head coach down at Coon, tweeted a thing out, and it makes sense. The Cedar Rapids Gazette, they do an amazing job of putting out what they feel the girls' union and then later on the boys' association are going to do for pairings, and they're usually pretty accurate, and they do that for every sport. It's amazing what they do. But they put out their final pairings this last Sunday. I did take time to take a look at them, and I understood Caitlin's. You got 3 ranked teams right now with Cam, with Woodbine, and with Coon Rapids Bayard in Class 1A. They've got all of those 3 in the same region having to go up against each other and stuff. And I know Caitlin just kind of tweeted that she hopes the union separates the Rolling Valley Conference schools away from each other so that they don't have to, meet each other for a third time potentially,
Because if I'm not mistaken, I think they had other teams in there from the Rolling Valley. I think Glidden might have been in there too.
Yes.
So,
I think there was 5 teams out of the 8 in that region. I think were out of the Rolling Valley. So
if that's what's going to happen, you might as well have tournament, conference tournaments,
right? And
those people would go to the advance in the playoffs.
Yeah, and I think even on the boys' side of things, I think sometimes, because I had a boys' coach say to me just today, as I asked him, I said, where do you think you guys are going to end up? And they're like, well, I hope we go north. You never know. He says, I just hope they don't do like they've done to us the last several years, and that is that it's our conference tournament pretty much is our region, and stuff, because, there's not many conferences that have conference tournaments anymore, but it does seem like in our area that not all of our schools, but a lot of our schools end up playing almost all conference schools in the region. And I get it. You're trying to cut down on travel during the week and stuff. The one thing I really like that the boys do, and it's good for us, but it's bad for us. I love it when they have the double headers and it's all 4 local schools. Well, the problem is that means our local schools are having to go through each other, but then you get 4 of them covered in one double header on one station, and we can get more schools covered. You're guaranteed 2 to go through, but you're also guaranteed 2 to go home, and that's the tough part of it. So you want to see it because then we can cover more schools in one night. You don't want to see it because you don't want to always see the same matchups that the same matchups that you see all regular season long.
See, I wouldn't have an issue if they wanted to go with conference tournaments as kind of the opening rounds of the playoffs. I can see it, but just say that. Just say, hey, we're going to have conference tournaments. The winners are going to move on to this section, and we'll reseed them after that.
Right.
So, I mean,
that's how they do it in South Dakota.
Yeah.
I can see where that would be a heck of a lot of fun, a conference tournament.
It would be. The only thing that would be tough at times would be like with the Rolling Valley for the girls this year, or the Raccoon River Conference. If you get 5 or 6 ranked teams and only one of them is able to come out of it because they won the conference tournament, and stuff to advance, that would be tough, and stuff, because I know the girls' union
it would make it exciting.
It would. It absolutely would. I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I know the girls' union, what they'll usually do is they separate the top 8 and don't have them play each other, and then after that, you could have 9 against 10 right away, and it ain't going to matter because they want to get those top, what they consider the top 8 down to the state tournament, because they consider those the best 8 teams.
All right, we're running out of time. I want to give you guys plenty of time to answer the trivia question because it might take a while. But the Coon Rapids Baird boys got a big game with Woodbine.
Yeah, coming up tonight. Had that tough loss last Thursday against Arweva on the road. That puts them a game behind Woodbine in the conference right now. But a win over there, and they're right back into a share, in the lead with the conference. And that conference is tough. You got Exira, Corn Kimballton, Woodbine, Coon, all really, really good this year. And Arweva, a few games back, doesn't have a chance to get into the hunt for the title, but that's a good basketball team over there as well.
Right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think what Coach Wilkins done the second half of the season has been good. I mean, Arweva's playing good defense. Blaine Smith, has really come on for me at 19 last night. So that what Arweva's done has been great the second half of the season. That Coon win is big for him.
Yes, it is.
Speaking of that, you posted that clip of the end of regulation with Coon Rapids Baird and Arweva. And, it was something.
Yeah, and I didn't post it because of any controversy or anything like that. I literally just was on the way home. It was my mom's birthday, so I stopped off, on the way back through West Side.
Oh, you weren't even covering the game?
No. I stopped over and I did interviews with, both the girls and boys teams after the games and stuff. And I was just like, this could be, Coon's got it. It's a tie game, 13 seconds left. This could be a last-second buzzer beater. I'm just going to video it. Well, it ended up being, Coon takes the shot. They get the tip in before the horn, but it's waved off. They call an over the back. There's no time left on the clock. They send an Arweva kid down on the other end. I didn't videotape the 2 free throws, but I had videotaped up prior to that. But they sent an Arweva kid down to the other end to shoot 2 free throws because they were over the 5-foul limit with no time left on the clock. Misses the first, makes the second, and Arweva wins by 1. So, but Coon led by 6 with 1:32 to go, and missed 2 free throws and turned it over 3 times, on their final 4 possessions. So I know Corey was upset, with what occurred there late, but at the same time, having a conversation with him, he's like, we're up 6 with 1.5 to go.
Yeah,
you got to win that game. You got to make a play, and they hit a couple of free throws. They make 1 bucket instead of turning it over. It's a different ball game.
So when I first saw the video, I thought it was a matter that they didn't count the bucket.
Yeah, no.
And then clearly the tip came just before the final buzzer.
Yeah, the tip would have counted, but they waved it off because they called the young man that tipped it in for over the back on the play, and that's what sent Arweva to the free throw line down on the other end. So.
Yeah. That's a tough way to lose that one, and it's an exciting way to win that one for Arweva.
Heck of a ball game. It was a great game all the way through. It didn't matter to me who won it. It's just, you hate to see a game end with the kind of controversy, that probably occurred in that situation.
Football changes for next year. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, let's run through that here real quick. So last year there was some controversy in the playoffs with who got a host and why they got a host and all those things. So the committee has approved new recommendations for this coming fall. So in the round of 16, this is for classes 2A, 1AA, and 8 player. It'll go by district finish, then head-to-head results, then the rankings from the Iowa High School Athletic Association, fewest district losses, and then alphabet draw will be in the quarterfinals. It'll be a head-to-head number 1, rankings number 2, district finish 3, fewest district losses 4, and then alphabet draw. And then if there's a tie, they'll use the 17-point tiebreaker, but that'll be for classes 3A and 4A. So, and the other thing I thought was interesting, 2 things. One, if you forfeit games in the regular season because of a lack of players, you're not eligible for the postseason now, because we've had some teams that have done that. And then they're going to have a 7-person officiating crew, up from a 5-person officiating crew for the state semis and the finals for all of the classes. They're adding 2 officials to the state championship.
So what were the changes in the opening round then? How was it different from the previous?
I can't remember exactly the order. I just remember the controversy last year was St. Mary's was undefeated and ranked above Bishop Garrigan, who had a loss to an unranked team that I didn't even think made the playoffs, if I remember correctly. But they hosted back-to-back games against teams that were undefeated and ranked ahead of them and that were district champions because of the alphabet, because of the direction they went in the alphabet. So there was a lot of people that were extremely upset about that.
Yeah,
and then
you know how that ends.
Yeah,
Bishop Garrigan goes on to win a state title.
Yeah,
so
wins both of those games and then goes on to win a state championship. I'm usually not one that likes to say anything on Twitter, but I did post after they won on the state championship on Twitter. I posted something of the nature of, for all you people that were yelling and screaming about them hosted, looks like they showed you that they were a pretty good ball club.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, people hate that. It never seems to work in your favor when they say, well, we're going to go by the alphabet.
Right.
It never seems to work.
One year we're doing from the back to the front. The next year we're doing the front to the back. And I get it. It's got to be hard when you got teams that haven't maybe played each other and, and stuff like that. It's tough to compare. How do you do it? And so, now it's the number 5 tiebreaker.
All right, now we're out of time, but we will answer the trivia question.
Okay.
11 states have hosted Super Bowls. Nevada is the 11th. What are the other 10?
Casey, I'll let you go with the first one. We'll go back and forth there.
So I think I know 3.
Okay.
Florida.
Yep.
Arizona and California.
Yep. I'm going to say
take the gimmies. Why don't you?
I'm going to say Georgia and New Orleans, because I think Atlanta and Louisiana both hosted. Yep. Minnesota hosted, right? Minneapolis hosted at once.
That is correct.
Has Detroit hosted?
Yes.
Okay, so that'd be Michigan. I'm thinking that back in the old days, they probably didn't have a warm weather site, so I'm going to say Wisconsin, because did Green Bay ever host back when they were winning?
No.
No. Okay. All right.
No.
New York.
That is another one. You are missing one.
Did Texas get a host?
I would assume Texas is
You're
hosted.
missing 2.
Yeah.
Texas is one. You're down to 1.
Yeah, that should have been one of the first ones we thought of, with Houston and Dallas probably both having hosted.
One more. Yeah, you got to stop and think. And I'm like, oh, man, this one. And I did not remember this Super Bowl being played there. So
Colorado?
Nope, not Colorado.
Okay.
Not Denver.
New Jersey?
Nope, not New Jersey either.
Okay.
It's in the Midwest.
Would have been Kansas City?
Kansas City?
Not Kansas City.
St. Louis, Missouri?
Nope.
Oh.
Close. Go north and a little east. Big Dome Stadium.
Big Dome. Indianapolis.
There you go.
Okay.
Indiana is the 10th. Is the one. What the 10th one there?
Wow, and I would have probably not thought of Indiana.
Makes sense. I mean, they got a roof and everything.
Yeah, the Lucas Oil Dome there and stuff. I don't even remember a Super Bowl being played there, but apparently
I don't either. I do remember the Minnesota one, because that wasn't that long ago.
Mm-hmm. It was right after they built their new stadium.
Yeah, they embraced the snow, and they had all sorts of snow festivals and stuff going on. So that was pretty cool. So there you go. There's our trivia question for the day. That is KCIM Sports Rewind. Don't forget to listen for our girls' state wrestling coverage. All begins Thursday morning on the YouTube channel. Just search Carroll Broadcasting Sports Network.